Hi everyone. So, striking month in Krav Maga at Kaya this month, and what we're going to focus on all of this week is going to be power generation, right? How to hit hard. Now, a couple of points on that before we jump into the first couple of principles. You'll notice that in the first week, all we talked about was target selection and principles, right? Which is closest weapon, nearest target, best result, right? It's important that we learn how to get the right weapon to the right target before we start adding speed and power to it, right? If you hit really, really hard, but you can't hit the right target or you can't hit it at all, well, you're not doing yourself any favors, right? Think of it very similar to when you learn how to drive, right? You learn how to steer at low speeds before you start driving fast, otherwise you're probably going to crash, okay? So we want to be able to do the same thing. I need to be able to steer this thing to the right place before I accelerate to make sure I don't put myself in positions of disadvantage. That's one. Now, there is absolutely no downside, right, in learning to hit fucking hard, right? Whether you're going to need to use it or not, always better to have it, right? So with that in mind, let's look at the first principle of power generation, basic physics. Force equals mass times acceleration, right? If I want to hit hard, I have to move as much mass as possible, as quickly as possible. Let's start with that, right? What does that mean for us? Well, a couple of things, right? If you're a smaller person, right, you have to accommodate for that by being able to accelerate faster, right? That is the way you're going to get the most power out of your shots. We're going to talk about breaking it down into smaller chunks, but that is the general principle, right? The more mass you accelerate, the faster, the more force you're going to generate. Regardless of whether you're big or small, you want to learn how to accelerate your body faster. And then depending on how serious you are about your training, right, you might actually look at bulking up and adding size if you want to add mass to improve power on your strikes if you think that it's right for you. Again, there's absolutely no downside to being stronger, right? So let's start with that. Force equals mass times acceleration. We need to be able to accelerate and move as much mass as quickly as possible, all right? So we'll work on the principles that will allow us to do that over the next few days.